We shall see, won't we? Okay, I'm waiting for the audio and video and to pop up. What a morning this has been. What a morning indeed. Okay. Commercial? Nope, no commercial. Audio? Yes, it's the Nazarite bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. So I just published a short while ago, and I had my first sighting in the wild. Some dude recognized me on the bus, which was unbelievable. Bro, what time is it where you're living? It is 10:21 a.m. Greetings from Chicago. Hey, thinking time. Gearhead says it's literally almost 1:30 a.m. Greetings, says HW. Hi, HW. Hey, Dev Coffee is here. So today, because something so unbelievably awesome happened as being sighted in the wild on the bus this morning, I decided to use a different mug. I'm feeling very Central Perky with this mug. It's huge. You look like a wizard, says Biggie. So I wanted to wear the hat. And my woman said, well, if you're going to wear the hat, you got to wear the tie. So I'm wearing the Bert and Ernie Blues Brothers tie. And incidentally, when I was feeling the different ties that I had and wondering which one I should take, she said, oh, this one is made of silk. And I said, what? I have a couple of ties made of silk? I had no idea they were silk. So I'm being vegan. I will have to stop wearing them. And I like them too. So, okay, yeah, you know what? You do what you got to do. That's a lot of coffee. Yes, it is, Pa. Hi, Pa. Hi there. Gearhead says, I went to the most badass Isaiah class last night. Good stuff. Awesome. You want to share? Good morning from Essex, says Gary. Good morning, good morning. Kind of wizard-like, that's a good look. So this is going to start with reincarnation. Yesterday, or a couple of days ago, William Robson asked about reincarnation. He said, do you believe that reincarnation, what makes you believe this? I said, I believe that it's a possibility. I have a general feeling that it could potentially take someone more than a single lifetime to complete one's overarching task in this world. It really goes on a case-by-case basis. Now, in the Hebrew faith, the Torah, the prophets, the writings, and the scrolls do not mention reincarnation explicitly. They are allusions to it, if you will. It is primarily through the Kabbalah, the Zohar, other Kabbalistic texts, where it's seen as like a given. But the Tanakh, the Torah does not mention it, and the Nevi'im Ketuvim, the rest of the Bible, kind of allude to it sometime. Halachically speaking, as far as I know, there are no rabbinic laws pertaining to, primarily, to or directly to reincarnation and past lives or future lives. But let's see what you guys said. A lot of you people commented, and I'll just go down the line here. Anonymous said, on this topic, I like the story The Egg by Andy Weir. We are all one soul, and each reincarnation is us experiencing the life of another human. This is something that Sneezer also said, by the way, or something along these lines. For me, at least, it helps satisfy the reasoning behind the forgiveness of all sins, because it is I myself who is the perpetrator in one life and the victim in the next. In other words, it's you playing all of the parts. It's you playing all of the instruments in the orchestra. It's you being on all of the bases. And so it's only truly one human life that is living itself out, one root human consciousness, one root human soul completing its task, fragmented and broken up and reiterated, if that's the way to put it. Now, there is something to say for the unique one root human soul, what's called the Nishmat Adam Harishon, the soul of Adam, the soul of the first human, in creation. And there is this idea of all of us being a part, a fragment of the soul that inhabited Adam Harishon, Adam. Okay, of course, he says the story considers only human consciousness. A more general story is one of the electron hypothesis, which states similarly that all electrons are one electron at different times. This covers for me philosophically that God is all things, or more familiarly, I am. Now, I don't know about this deal with the electrons, because as far as I know, electrons repel each other because they are charged with the same polarity. For that reason, by the way, even though this hat might be touching me, it's not really touching me. Even though I'm touching my hand right now, I'm not touching my hand right now. There's a barrier. The electrons repel each other, and so I'm never truly making a connection on a subatomic level between myself and anything else. If I'm not mistaken, that's the way that goes. But so I don't know how all electrons are one electron at different times. If that were true, maybe they wouldn't repel each other because they would all be one. I don't know how it goes. Okay. Superman, he said, we stood together at Mount Sinai. We just can't consciously remember the material experience without spiritual education and good works. So, okay, this idea of all the souls of Israel standing together at Sinai is something that's brought in the Midrash, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not sure exactly what this has to do with reincarnation. I'm assuming he means just like we were all standing at Sinai. Now, were we in a body? Were we in a soul? That's kind of where he doesn't specify what he thinks there. Kamal says, I think there is a good possibility that reincarnation, as we understand it, is both true and not true. It could be an artifact of linear time from our limited perspective. But if we consider a notion of selfhood that transcends the human specimen, things might look much different. I have doubts that consecutive lifetimes would be a binding principle for something like an oversoul or higher self. Indeed, in Hebrew faith, in the Hebrew faith, in the Torah, even according to Maimonides, with his principles of faith, the belief in reincarnation is nothing binding. We are not bound to believe it. It's something that over the course of history and time, through Kabbalistic influences largely, it's been kind of accepted, but it was never made like canon, if you will, as part of the beliefs. And Rambam, right, Maimonides did not make it one of his 13 principles of faith. God's angel says, you are right, sir, it is a case-by-case basis, mostly for God's angels in human form. But if they are angels in human form, they would not have a human soul. What would they need reincarnation for? I don't quite get it. We humans need to perform commandments. But the angels have no commandments. The angels have only their one task at any given moment. I don't quite know what he's saying, right? What angels do have to do with it, but okay. High Voltage says probably nothing happens after death, but the honest answer for every human is, I don't know, which is correct. It's not a question of knowledge. All right, let's continue. Hava Nagila says pork chop. Let us rejoice, let us rejoice. Indeed. Gearhead says, I guess it's pretty important to forgive, especially if you're the perpetrator and the victim. Let's be kind to each other. Yes, I agree. It's like, today I'm this, tomorrow I'm that, much like in the sense of giving, right? Of giving to charity, right? And giving to others who are less fortunate. It's like, yes, right now it's you who is less fortunate. Tomorrow it might be me, and I'm going to be the one needing a handout. And so to keep that, karma, let's say, or to keep that going, to keep that moving, and not the negative things you need to burn off. I mean the idea of what goes around comes around. And indeed, this idea of reincarnation is called the Gilgul Neshamot, the cycling or spinning of the souls. And the cycling, rolling, cycling, spinning, something of a cyclic nature that has to do with the soul and, right, different bodies. Does all science with a wide consensus among academics square with your religious beliefs? Or do you ever find yourself struggling to accept science due to your beliefs? Well, seeing as how I'm not a scientist or a researcher, you'd be hard-pressed to find something that I know and that's a struggle. The things that I seem to have learned from science, like my mother, right, who was a doctor of biochemistry and a researcher at Hebrew U, and she said always that it's because of her education, because of her many years of research into the biochemistry, right, and into the substrate of the human body and of that whole world of DNA and RNA, and it's like there is where she sees creation and the creator just plainly she sees it there. I've never found myself struggling to accept science due to my beliefs. No, I think that everything that science has said so far has been aligned with what I think, because I believe that there are laws of nature. I simply believe that they were laws and rules and guidelines created by a creator. We were given dominion of all creation, essentially, or potentially. And in doing that, we also have the ability to bend the rules of nature, to bend creation to our will. It's supposed to be of a good will. It's supposed to be something positive. But no, I don't think so. I don't think that anything that has a wide consensus among academics has not squared with my religious beliefs. Not really. Well, it's true. Doesn't the Torah say all creation was finished on the seventh day? Indeed, the thing is that seventh day never arrived. That seventh day never arrived. The first story of creation in chapter 1 is basically sort of a blueprint, but the actual second part where it's humanity being expelled from Eden on Friday and the Edenic Sabbath never taking place. That is what actually is going down right now. We are on the road. We are in a world between worlds, right? Between Friday afternoon and the Edenic Sabbath. But let's just say now we're just experiencing different parts of it, variations in consciousness, says Gearhead. Variations in consciousness indeed, but what do you mean by experiencing different parts? I mean, we all have different things that we are aware of. We all have, do we share the same consciousness? Do we have individual consciousness? I can't share yours, you can't share mine, and yet we are one big organic thing, right? We are the universe asking itself why, right? That whole thing. It's like one consciousness, just like it's one soul of Adam, but fragmented, so it seems broken apart, and it seems that there are differences, and it seems that there are, well, that we are not one. Ultimately and eventually, I do believe that we are. It's just taking us time, myself included, to realize that and bring it to fruition. So all creation was finished on the seventh day, yes, but we are awaiting that seventh day to arrive. Okay. Ew, dude, brush your teeth. I can smell that shit all the way here. Sweet like espresso says. I don't like sweet espresso. I like just, run-of-the-mill coffee, espresso, no sugar, no cream, no milk. I don't get the sweet stuff. I mean, I'm not judging, but I just don't get it. As for my teeth, I brush my teeth morning and evening. I floss fairly regularly, and I get my teeth cleaned once every 6 months. So I'm sitting pretty, dentally speaking. Not that I want to, jinx anything here. Sagittarius, good to see you again, man. Always, yet the big-wig scientists mad at me when I bring up God. Yeah, I mean, some scientists are unable to, for whatever reason, they seem to be unable to accept the idea of the creator. Even if we say it is the creator that created the laws and the science that you yourself are researching, that you yourself consider right to be part of our world. The hard sciences, the soft sciences, we have creation and there's a creator. I'm not asking anyone to believe this, of course. I'm just saying this is how I look at it. It's not a Friday, that's a man-made interpretation, says the real Shane Smoot. Hey, Smoot, what do you mean it's not a Friday? What do you mean? Please explain, why did God exile the Israelites and why are they disobeying God, making the state of Israel? So it's not disobeying God, making the state of Israel. That is one opinion, and it's based on, it's based on an external teaching primarily found in the Song of Songs, right? Of Solomon, the Song of Solomon. But God exiled the Israelites because they turned their backs on the covenant and because they transgressed and did wrong and did not repent, and that is why they were kicked out, and we will continue to be kicked out if we behave in the same way. Okay. Shanbob said, in my opinion, there is a kind of reincarnation. Oh, before I get into what Shanbob said, let's go with the poll. Let's see how the poll is doing today. 41 votes in. It's a no. 49% of you do not believe in reincarnation. 34% of you do believe. 12 say reincarnation, are you on crack? And 5% say yes on a case-by-case basis, which incidentally is what I think as well. But okay, let's see. My opinion is there is kind of a reincarnation, yet it is to allow our souls to ascend to a higher place. This is also in part what the Kabbalists say, that the soul is reincarnated in different bodies throughout different times in order to perfect it, to adorn it with everything it needs to take onto itself, to fulfill the 613 commandments, because according to some anyway, you need to fulfill all of them, and some of them are for men, some of them are for women, some are for priests, and some are for Levites, and some are for Israelites, and some are for Nazarites, and some are for slaves, and some are for the masters of the slaves. My personal belief is we all pick the path we are on, he says, yet it is up to us to pick the right path. Religion is only a term used to label us, yet it does not say who you are as humans. We cannot agree. So I do not judge someone of their faith, color, or sexuality as well as we all bleed the same, right? We're all human, he says, yet I believe we all choose the path we are living now to make our souls greater, to get to a higher place than this that we live now. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Right? We are all human, we are all made in the image of God. I know that certain Hasidic sects and certain Jews who are not Hasidic consider Jews to have a divine soul and others who are non-Jews to have a human soul, but not that the Jewish soul is higher. I don't accept that. As far as I'm concerned, I don't go with that. We are all earthlings, human beings made in the image of God with a divine soul, as far as I'm concerned. Can you behave in such a way that you will tarnish your soul. This is again a disagreement among Kabbalists, where some say that yes, the soul can actually be affected, where others say no, 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 the soul remains pure, pristine, and glorious and shining, let's say, and it is the body that takes on all of the punishment. It is the body that is tarnished. It is the body that gets all of the yuck and the guk. The soul remains lovely and pristine, just as it was when it entered the body, just as it was before it entered the body. You could be Ari Schaefer's twin brother, says Article 11. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Hey, Ronnie Mad Hatter. I love a good Mad Hatter. I think, were you here before, or maybe a different Mad Hatter? One of my favorite characters. Those who forgive deserve forgiveness. It's cosmic law. Those who forgive deserve forgiveness. Yeah, there is something to that. On the other hand, there are things that are unforgivable, right? I bring this up all the time. Murderers, for instance, in the time of the Sanhedrin, if they were found guilty and unequivocally guilty, with no path to redemption, they would be put to death. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nihi b'dvaro. This mug says, do what you love. Indeed, I'm doing it right now. Okay. I'll check on you again. Let go of the lies. Let go of the lies. What lies am I holding on to? Please, by all means, share. All right. In the book of Daniel, says John, the book of Daniel clearly says the dead will be revived, so one life only. Reincarnation then is clearly against it. Now, here's the thing. Reincarnation or resurrection, right? These things have to do with that idea of a soul in a body, where we were expelled from Eden, and then eventually we will be coming back to Eden to partake of the fruit of the tree of life, and then it won't be life as opposed to death, like a dichotomy or a duality. It will be a singular thing, life, what's called the afterlife. That's not after death, but the after partaking of the fruit of the tree of life, which was put under guard but never forbidden. And so reincarnation doesn't necessarily go against it. If the dead are going to be revived, some people say that the body in which the most purification, the most cleansing took place, that is the body that will be revived. That's the body in which that soul will come into. That's the body that will inhabit that soul when they are one once again, but this time not because they were simply created or born that way, right, a body with a soul inside, but because we merited it, truly merited that idea of true life, not life as opposed to death, not womb or tomb, but something else entirely. Life not as a dichotomy, but as a singular thing. Okay, so he says, seeing it as symbolism instead of the plain reading, like in Isaiah 26, is not proper. Those prophets clearly meant that people will literally revive fleshly. And according to Daniel, this will not be a good thing for some. That is not at all possible. That is all not possible unless it happens to be one body of the previous, and if there are previous lives in reincarnation, it's a completely alien concept. Now, Kabbalah says this is not alien at all. Kabbalah takes this as a given, right? The Zohar takes it as a given that this is something that happens. I understand what he's saying. But I'm thinking that if it is to do with the tree of life, and if you do say, yes, we have different bodies that we go through and cycle through, then why not still revive fleshly in a specific body? It can be this body or that body. I don't think it necessarily negates it. I don't think so. Of course, I might be wrong. All right. Matthew says, I do not believe every person has the same soul or the same strength, and provides little benefit to reincarnation. It's very hard to understand what happened to crystallize our spirit in that moment in the womb, but I am guessing an intense battle was fought and the position earned. I do not believe every person has the same soul or the same strength. So he says there's little benefit to reincarnation because we are all different, and what? And with reincarnating we will all be the same? I don't quite get it. Shams says, I consider us all a part of God, so we don't really ever die. It's the first rule of thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Now, I, for many years, also considered humanity to be part of God and creation to be part of God. Only when I got into the teachings of Rabbi Moshe Cordovero was it made clear to me, and something that I really took to, that there is a complete split. Of course, those who believe that we are part of God, by all means, believe that. Nothing wrong with believing that. Nothing wrong with thinking that or following through in any kind of way due to that. But I am of the opinion, like the Ramak, right, like Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, who says that no, there's a split. All we are is divine revelation. All we are is divine emanation. And the divine attributes are what make us up. The divine attributes are what we are to cling to. So we are not part of God. We will never be part of God. We are a creation. Therefore, by definition, not part of the Creator. As for we don't ever really die because we are part of God, again, there is that idea of life as opposed to death, being a duality. But if you're thinking from a singular tree of life point of view, no, we don't ever really die. It's just the body that dies. The body decays, just like there are wildflowers, says the Tao Te Ching. Look at the wildflowers that grow and bloom gloriously and then go back and sleep in the earth until the next cycle. Would you call that necessarily death if they are to live again? As far as that it's a cyclic thing, is there truly death? In the very same way, we with our actions, with good deeds, with being, with righteousness and humility, we are able to attach ourselves and cleave to the divine attributes and to the divine revelation in our job as being created in the image of God. We too are mini creators, as it were. And if so, and if we do in that way become part of the revelations of the Creator, and we attach ourselves to something that is beyond life and death, something that is beyond this world, something that is supernatural or supernal or whatever you want to call it, a spiritual thing. And there is no death in spirituality. In spirituality, what we call death is sort of a stepping down. There's no up or down there either, right? These are terms we use to convey certain spiritual ideas. But the point is, I consider us all a part of God, so we don't ever die. When Shams says that, I mean, if one does say, yes, we are all a part of God, so we don't really truly die sort of in an absolute sort of way, I can see what he means. Why not just live once, says Mick Maverick. Why have multiple lives in which you forget all the lessons from previous lives? So the reason why, traditionally speaking, you forget all of your previous lives is for you to have free will and free choice in this life. However, there are sages and Kabbalists who will be able to look at you, they say, and sit with you one-on-one and tell you your previous incarnations, tell you what you have done and what you have yet to accomplish and what you need to make up for, what you need to do that you've never done yet, what commandments you still need to fulfill. There doesn't seem to be a good reason to need to die over and over and over again. Well, I would say to live over and over and over again, not necessarily to die, but I guess that's two sides of the same coin. Angel says, doesn't exist in my heart or logically. In my eyes, my heart or logically. The Bible teaches nothing of this, therefore I believe it to be trash. If the devil can have your mind and imagination in distraction, then he's won. I keep my heart focused on God, not modern or worldly ideas. So yes, it does indeed not appear in the written Torah. It does not appear in the Tanakh. Again, allusions of it do appear here and there, but never explicitly. Never explicitly. You stink of pure shite, says Megan. Yes, I do. I stink of human shite. I stink of dog shite. I stink of cat pee. I stink of snail and slug trails. What else? This morning, that's all I've rolled in. But if I see something really stinky, I might roll in other stuff as well. Because, I just can't. I'm like a dog. I can't. I see something nasty, I got to roll in it. Hey, that's why I'm doing this. Do you like Europeans or Arabs more, says Patrick. I like them both just the same. They're both they're very different cultures, but both have contributed a lot to the world. Oh, yes. Okay. The poll, 84 votes in. 55% of you say you do not believe in reincarnation. 27% say yes. 14% say, are you on crack? And 6% say yes on a case-by-case basis. Let's keep going. I have said, Swifter quotes, ye are gods, all of you are children of the Most High. Read full chapter. Yes, I have. אלוהים אתם ובני העליון כולכם, אכן כאדם תמותון, וכאחד השרים תיפולו. Yes, indeed. Lias says, dude, it's it with the you like European? You sound like a racist. Oh, okay, he's talking to, okay. Naughty says, it amazes me as a Christian how much I've heard preached about Jews, Hebrews, and Israelites, but never met one in 54 years. So nice to meet you. And you, Naughty, good to meet you. Peace be with you, my Christian fellow. MM says, you said you're a Zionist that supports the settlers' violence in the West Bank? No, I don't support settler violence in the West Bank. or you're against it. No, I'm very much against violence in the West Bank. Kabbalah was made after Christ's resurrection. No, you're mistaken. There are Kabbalistic texts that predate the Second Temple era, so you're wrong about that. As for certain Kabbalistic approaches, certain Kabbalistic texts and teachings, of course, throughout the entirety of human history, from Eden and onwards, the Kabbalah has been sometimes hidden, sometimes revealed, and other things added onto it. Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, the Ari, very famously in Tzfat in the 16th century, revolutionized the Kabbalah. That Purple says, my fellow Jew. Indeed. Hi, Purple. I'm a tight ace. Does that make me a Jew, says Matt Black? Well, it depends. If you had your ass tightened by like a vice grip, then no. If you had your ass tightened with being asked for money, right, and so you puckered up, then that makes you 100% a Jew. Yeah, totally. Hello, chicken swinger, says Yuri. No, I'm not a chicken swinger. Whenever I do kaparot, I do it with money. Even before I was vegan, I never did it with chickens. I don't think that's cool. I think that's borderline abusive to animals. Even if the animal that is slaughtered and butchered kosherly does go to feed those who have no meal for the eve of Yom Kippur, still, it's just not my thing, certainly after I'm vegan. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum, may peace be with you. Wa alaikum salam, wa alaikum salam, dazzling straight. How you doing? How you doing? I'm talking about reincarnation and everything of that sort. Oh, okay. That's some Antichrist revelation, if you ask me. So that's what you meant there. I understand. How is it Antichrist revelation to believe in reincarnation? I'm curious. Can you demonstrate your chicken swinging form for us? As I've said, I don't swing chickens, but when I do it with money, right, I have my kids over here, and let's say that this is the money, and so I do this. That's what I do, right? And you recite what you're supposed to be reciting. I'm Ashkenazi, says Patrick, so I like Europeans more, especially Eastern Europeans, a far more compatible culture. That's my take. Of course, some are more compatible than others. There's no running away from that. But I think that both of them did bring a lot into the world in their times. Okay, real question, says Little Heart Aches. Why are Jews God's people associated with money? Doesn't that seem contradictory? No, you need money to survive. Why are they associated with money? God knows, I don't. Maybe other people do. It's said, Seinfeld is unfunny, Matt. No, it's been said that Jews are good with money. It's been said, I mean, I don't know how far back this goes, but it's been said that Jews are good with money, and they make good financial advisors and good bankers and good accountants and so on. People deal with it, but I have no idea. I think it has to do with the right brain, left brain tendency. You know, are you better with figures or are you better with expression? You know what I'm saying? Mantorch says, the Kabbalah thing you said about timing seems very Wizard of Oz, false history to pull a fast one. Well, either I didn't explain it properly, or maybe you didn't understand it properly. I wouldn't presume to be the orator of Kabbalistic lingo or ideas. Reading the Bible, says Kirsty, has so far led me to believe God intended humans to be vegetarian. Yes, indeed, vegan, actually. If you read Eden, right, the account of creation in Eden, we were all vegan. Maybe all of creation was vegan until the flood, or at least humans were until the flood. But yes, it's true. Credential says, according to Pew Research Institute, Islam is 2 billion strong and still the fastest growing religion in the world. Yes, it is. It is the fastest growing religion in the world. David says, even after Mashiach, there will Shor Habor and Livyatan. Yes, that's right. Shor Habar, not Bor, Bar. Shor Habar ve Livyatan. It's in the Torah to eat animals. Halacha dictates morality, as said by the Chazon Ish. Yes, let's put it this way. I doubt that the Torah would condone the abuse and psychological abuse and physical torture that is part and parcel of factory farming. I doubt that highly. To have, to go out and butcher your own animals, to have a farm, a homestead, and grow your own livestock, by all means. To go hunting and look the animal in the eye as you take its life, by all means do. To go to the supermarket and buy something cleansed and hygienic and prepackaged, and while millions and billions of animals are suffering each and every day? No, I don't think the Torah would agree with that. Not at all, like at all, right? The principle of the sorrow of living things, of tsa'ar ba'alei chayim, applies in earnest, and then some when it comes to modern day factory farming. As for Shor HaBar veLivyatan, it doesn't necessarily have to be the literal wild ox and Leviathan, right? These are things that many times are symbols of the dark side, of the left side, of the other side, right? The Sidra Achra. The Leviathan specifically, right? The Leviathan is something that God will slay, right? Livyatan Akalton and Nachash Bariach, right? Akalton Livyatan? Yeah, Livyatan Nachash Bariach. Anyway, these are things that are supposed to be taken out of creation. The idea of having a sukkah, for instance, right? A booth, a sukkah, from the skin of the Leviathan, that's exactly what this is. It's taking that out of creation and what would it be? Transmutating it? I mean, using it for the positive instead of the negative, thereby bringing it to fruition and to completion, for harmony to reign, for goodness to reign. Evil will be lifted out. Death itself will be taken out of creation. The dark forces will be eradicated. This is what Chad Gadya is about. If you people know the poem of Chad Gadya, where eventually, after everything is done, God slaughters the angel of death. Also, it's from Isaiah, right? God will take away death forever. And it's in Harry Potter, right? The last enemy that shall be conquered is death. The Zohar wasn't until the 13th century. Again, this is a point of controversy and different opinions. Some say that the Zohar was hidden until Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the Second Temple era. Some say it was hidden until Rabbi Moshe de Leon in the 13th century, or was it the 12th century? Something there, around that time. So it's a difference of opinion, it's a machloket, it's a controversy on when the Kabbalah, more specifically when the Zohar was revealed, and did Rabbi Moshe de Leon write it, or did he simply reveal it? Was it from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? Was it from before? Was it after? It's very difficult to know these things, truly it is. You are not a real Jew because you're white-skinned, am I wrong? Yes, you are wrong, I'm so high. You're a little too high. And I'm a fan of cannabis, right? I don't partake, but I'm a fan. And because I used to. And if you think the content of melanin in someone's skin says if they are real or fake, then that's stupid. Sorry, that's really, really stupid. And racist. Pretty racist, right? Because there are converts, you know. There's no such thing as a real Jew and a fake Jew. If you are whatever skin color you are, right, and you forsake all pagan gods, and you take on the law of the Torah, and you take on the commandments, and you cling and cleave to the covenants of the Hebrews, if you need to convert, you convert. If you need to be circumcised, you're circumcised. You go to the mikveh, right, the ritual pool, you step up, and you're a Jew. Congratulations. So there's no such thing as a real Jew and a fake Jew, especially when we have converts. I'm pretty sure some of the prophets said animal sacrifices displeased God, and Yeshua stood as the final sacrifice. There is no need for further animal or human sacrifices. Praise God. Well, the Yeshua thing is not for me. I'm not a Christian, but I do understand what he's saying. And yes, verily, right? It says it in the book of Hosea and in a few other places. I have the short series on spiritual veganism. If you want to check that out on my channel, a few short videos on spiritual veganism. I mentioned some of these prophetic verses. I mentioned some of these ideas on the nature of spiritual vegetarianism, spiritual veganism, the idea of the animal sacrifices not being desired at the time when the third temple will be built. Patrick says, I think that we should phase out traditional act of killing chickens for kaparot and replace it with giving tzedakah. Of course we should. That's the right thing to do. Obviously, it's the right thing to do. Oh, yeah. Okay. Shoot, says Noah, why do you think Genesis 9 food laws are different from Israel's? Was Noah supposed to be the seed promised in Genesis, but he failed, so God again had to wait for the seed? That's why the two food laws. Well, I think that Israel separated itself from the nations in how they dress and how they talk and the God they believe in, the way that they worship, and how they eat and what they eat. So why are there two laws? Because there are Jews and non-Jews. That won't always be the case. I am of the opinion that we will all turn to Eden once again as a unified human race, and we will all be vegan once again as a unified human race. For now, much like there are borders, and much like there are walls, and much like there are differences in cultures and faiths and religions and ideas, we will be able to find common ground and get back to being one unified human race, one unified humanity, united in celebration, this time through our merit and partake of the fruit of the tree of life in Eden. But right now, there needs to be two different laws for the Israelites and the non-Israelites. It won't always be that way, right? In Eden, there were no Jews and Gentiles. In Eden, there were no two laws of kashrut. If you don't do chicken, you won't have atonement for your sin. That is false, FDF. We have atonement regardless of the chicken and regardless of the minhag, right? The custom of kaparot, right? We have atonement through the holiday of atonement. We have atonement on the new moon. We have atonement on Mondays and Thursdays. We have atonement every single day that we do something right. It can atone for something that we did wrong. Not necessarily that it cancels each other out, but that simply by doing better in the future, by living more righteously and more humbly and walking before God with simplicity, you are able to retroactively not only annul, if you will, things that you did in the past and atone for them, but raise them higher to become merits. So even the things that you did in order to make the divine revelation angry, even the things that you did specifically to piss off the Creator, those too can become merits if you return to living righteously. What are you drinking? Just coffee, black coffee. Nice to meet you, says AJ. Nice to meet you, AJ. Are there any parts of your religion you disagree with, and why? There are many parts of the religion I disagree with. That's why I no longer keep strict rabbinic law. I kept strict halacha for many years, and then in my mid to late 20s, just before I took my vow, so, my mid-20s, I took a very good look because of certain things that were happening in Israel and certain things that were happening in my life. I had to take a good long look at the Orthodox religion that I was a part of, the halacha, the rabbinic law that I was keeping, and I needed to say, okay, something is wrong here. Things are not aligning with what I'm discovering. Things are not aligning with my views. Things are not aligning with my values. And these are things that I didn't just do on a whim, right? I actually took the time. I took a few years of soul searching to figure out whether or not I'm just shirking my responsibility, unburdening myself of the yoke of Torah and commandments, or is this truly something that I'm feeling wholeheartedly, truly? Can I ever really trust my intuition? No, but I had to go with it. I really did have to go with it. I saw no other way, which is also why I don't rule out going back to keeping strict halacha in due time, in due season, if it does present itself in such a way. But right now, no, I could not. So there are parts of the religion, specifically the parts of the organized religion, halacha, that I disagree with, primarily because halacha is stuck 2,000 years in the past, basically. Right? We have no sages with the laying of the hands. We have no Sanhedrin. We have no people of the Great Assembly. And so we, in many ways, are stuck in the past, way back in the past. So I have issues with halacha. Now, halacha, let me be very clear, rabbinic law is a wonderful path. It's a lovely way. It's a great way to be in the world. I simply, after keeping it for many years, saw that certain things were not aligning with how I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what I'm doing and what I'm seeking. Now, is it to my detriment? Yes, maybe. Is it a danger? Absolutely. And I'm willing to pay that price. I'm willing to pay the price. I came to that conclusion, again, not in a day, not on a whim, years of soul searching on whether or not I'm doing the right thing truly. Okay. Hi, I'm a sage. Keep on doing what you're doing, says Toast Puncher. All right, keep punching that toast. And it's always nice to meet a sage. Our righteousness is nothing. It's like filthy rags, says Montorch. Really? There's no such thing then as righteousness? A filthy rag can be used for a lot of things. Right? Just what does Captain Holt say? A dirt bag? A dirt bag is an integral part of the vacuum cleaner. Disagree with fundamentally, or doesn't work for you right now? No, pretty fundamentally. Pretty fundamentally in the sense that I don't think that this is how I as an individual am supposed to live. Again, it might be to my detriment. I'm definitely paying a price. But in the very same way that I took up the Nazarite ship, right? I took a Samson Nazarite vow, which is something that is not usually done, and I'm probably paying a price for that too. And yet I could not ignore the truth that I perceived to be truth, because I don't speak in absolutes. I could not ignore and turn a blind eye to what I considered to be the truth, just tapping me on the shoulder, punching me in the face, and saying, hey, pay attention to me. There's something here you need to do. And going through halacha, and look, I went to yeshiva for a few years, and I loved it, and I want to go back to yeshiva, right? So I'm a fan of Mishnah and Talmud and Halacha. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but I am saying that I saw certain things, more particularly when things de facto, like on the ground, right? What was happening in Israel about 20 years ago, what was happening with religious leaders, what was happening with politics, what was happening with things that I considered to be not what the Torah wanted, not at all. And I could not ignore that. So I said, okay, I still want to be a Hebrew man. I still want to keep the Torah. I still want to keep the commandments, but I got to figure out something for myself, because I can't keep putting that label of Orthodox on me and say that, yes, I am an Orthodox Jew when I'm seeing all these things going on that I don't agree with. And it wasn't just individual people who turned me off to certain things, mind you. This was something that was ongoing, right? I felt that gnawing at me for a long time, and I had to confront myself. What are my values? What are my views? What is my truth? What is it that I'm willing to let go of, and why? What is it that I'm willing to take on, and why? It was very important for me. Shalom Aleichem, brother, says Kruyo. Kruyo, what do you think about Psalms 22 and Isaiah 53? Okay, shalom from Sefarad. Oh, hello, España. I'm assuming you mean Spain, right? Sefarad. So here's the deal. I know that many Christians and followers of Jesus with the piercing and the suffering servant, it does not pertain to Jesus, not ever, not once, not even a little bit. That is what I think. I think that if you read, whether you read it straight through or you read the commentary, even if there were people who were crucified, Jesus wasn't alone. The Romans crucified thousands. Even if there is that idea of the suffering servant, there are many suffering servants. Those verses pertain to the children of Israel at large and not to one specific individual necessarily. But what we must remember is that the Psalms are part of the writings, Isaiah is part of the prophets. Both of those are meant to turn you back to the Torah. The Bible was canonized in order for Israel to have a one set one set volume, if you will, of books, right, that turn them back to Torah. That's why the Bible was canonized. There was no commandment to canonize the Bible. Our sages did that so we would have something to go to, right? Something that everybody recognizes as the formative canonical text of the Hebrew faith, so to speak. And that's what it is. And they all point back to the 5 books of Moses. They don't have any commandments in and of themselves. The writings and the prophets and the scrolls do not have any commandments in them. They have no halachic, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they don't really matter as far as the commandments are concerned. They enforce certain ideas, and they buttress certain ideas, right? And they give anchors for others later on to stick in the ground, and pillars, right? And flags to stick in the ground and say, here, look, the prophet said this, the prophet said that, this is what it says in the Psalms, this is what it says in this scroll or that scroll, right? They bring it up as evidence of certain things to back up certain ideas, but it all goes back to Torah. And in the Torah, we have no God incarnate. And those who sling Isaiah 53 and Psalm 22 at me usually consider Jesus to be part of God and actually God in the flesh. That goes against the Torah. And so I say, absolutely not. You can believe that. It's all well and good. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm just saying Jews don't believe that by and large. You know, Messianic Jews believe he was Messiah. That's fine. Jews for Jesus, I don't know precisely if there's a difference between them, but they believe also in some sort of something to do with Jesus. I simply believe he is a dead man. No more, no less. Okay. My experience is, says David, that a lot of what Orthodox yeshivish culture isn't halacha and Torah shebe'al peh. A lot of it is based in fear and overcorrections. There you go. That's what I didn't like. Fear and overcorrections. Precisely to the opposite extreme of what they were trying. Yes, I am inclined to agree. That's a wonderful way to put it. Obviously, it's not an absolute. Obviously, this is not across the... It was indeed what I was feeling in my gut, right? And in my heart, and in my head, and in everyday life. The fear and overcorrection. Now, should you be fearful before God? Sure, but not like that. Should you be in awe, right? Yir'ah. Yes, of course you should be in awe. But the overcorrection, exactly that. The overcorrection caused people to go to extremes, and that is what I did not like, and that is what I would not do. Now, there are certain things in which I am extreme about, according to some. Right? The Nazariteship can seem pretty extreme, especially the Samson Nazariteship, which is until the grave and afterwards. So, is it extreme? Yes. Is it okay to be extreme in certain things? Yes. I perceived too many people going in too extreme of a way and trying to make it the mainstream. And I said, no, that's not my mainstream. No, it isn't. He believes he can save himself. He is cooked, says Mantorch. Well, the Torah says this. Just because you say otherwise doesn't make it so. Just because I say something doesn't make it so. But I believe we all create our own destiny. We all make our own continuation. We make our own heaven and hell, as it were. And I'm saying that, yes, we do save ourselves. You know, I mean, we have the merit of our forefathers and ancestors on our side, for sure. But yes, we save ourselves. That's why the commandments are here. Is there like something external that could help you atone? Yes, the ritual worship of the temple, the prayers of the people of Israel nowadays, the good things that people do, all of Israel are accountable for one another. Kol Yisrael arevim ze lazeh, the Talmud says. The Talmud, or is it the Mishnah? I think it's the Talmud. White King says, subhuman behavior. Yes, White King, I am indeed subhuman, I'll grant you that. As for the behavior, where do you see me behaving as a subhuman? I don't quite get where that's from. But okay. Let's continue. Let's continue with some more. First of all, let's go with the poll. Let's go with the poll, and then we'll continue with some more ideas of what reincarnation is as put forth by you good people. 222 votes in, 51% do not agree. They do not believe in reincarnation. 29% do agree. 7% say yes on a case-by-case basis. And 13% are you on crack? Okay, so let's continue with what you people said about reincarnation in the last couple of days. All right. Nope, says Pixie Face. Belief in reincarnation produces a lackadaisical attitude to life, family, and relationships in general, and your perception of God. Appreciation of quality goes. Hey, I'll catch up spiritually in my next life. This life I want to explore drugs and sex and making money, fame, weirdness, chaos, or whatever. Diversity of options ruins meditation, contemplation, depth, etc. I was around people like that for too long while following Eastern paths. Okay, so according to Pixie Face, if you believe in reincarnation, it gives you the freedom to say, this life I can do whatever the hell I want, and worst case scenario, I'll reincarnate and I'll do whatever I need to do in another life. It's fine. I don't need to complete anything. I don't need to make an effort. I can be lackadaisical, right? As he or she said. Now, as for perception of God, I don't know how reincarnation or lack thereof might affect the perception of God. They didn't really go into that there. But I do understand what they're saying when they say that the diversity of options can ruin the idea of going all in with this one life that we have. And yet, there is something, yes, there is something to that. Gan Eden says, it depends who you ask. The source for reincarnation, to some rabbis, states that you find it in the Tanakh, in the Bible, explicitly. I know the verses they are talking about, but I'm still undecided. Tanakh doesn't explicitly state that it exists. For example, I believe many in Kabbalah cite Kohelet, Ecclesiastes 4:2 or 1:4. Probably the biggest source they use is Eov, Job 33, verses 29 and 30. So yes, right, it does not appear in the written Torah. It does not explicitly appear in the Bible at all. Studimus Prime says, man has but one life to live. The scriptures are clear. If I reincarnate as many in the resurrection, who will I be? There is a bodily resurrection with the coming Messiah, and for that I do not subscribe to the doctrine of reincarnation. I think that the Jewish version of reincarnation was borrowed almost entirely from Hinduism, but that's just me. An interesting way to look at it. Mustache Man, hey, good to see you again, Mustache. If reincarnation is real, why don't I have past memories of my past vessel? Is it that the soul is not linked to the vessel's memory? So I just mentioned this 20 minutes ago. Part of the reason they say why your memory is not there of previous lives is to give you proper choice and free will in this life. But there are sages and Kabbalists who can tell you of your previous lives. There are sages and Kabbalists who can tell you what you already have accomplished and fulfilled, what you still have to do, what your main purpose is here in this world personally. That's partly why. So many immature comments here, says Soothing. Hi, Soothing. Tool of Demons, LMAO, says Noah. Idiot MAGAs. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but okay. FDF2 says kicked out because they are supremacist and follow disgusting man-made laws. Well, many people follow man-made laws. That in and of itself is not something wrong. As for being supremacist, I think that you're wrong about that. Are there Jews who are supremacists? Of course. Are there Jews who are racists and bigots and haters? Yes. Are there Jews who think that the non-Jews, the Gentiles, the nations are like subhuman or cattle? Yes. I don't subscribe to those. I don't think that appears in Torah, not even a little bit. I think we are all made in the image of God. We are all earthlings. We are all human beings. We all have a task to do as individuals, as a nation, as a people, as societies, right? We have something to accomplish in this world. We have a path that we need to walk. Figure it out. See what your path is. The supremacist idea, it just lends itself very easily, very quickly, too easily, to vanity and arrogance, right? And failure later, because the higher, right, the bigger they are, the bigger they are, what's the word? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. That's that sort of thing, right? What does the book of Proverbs? Pride goes before a fall and a haughty spirit before breaking. Something like that. Kabbalah is real, says RK, but it's not the tree of life. It's a tree of good and evil, man attempting to be like God, just as the serpent in the garden stated. So wait, I mean, the Kabbalah in this world is indeed the tree of knowledge of good and evil, in the sense that it is something that pertains to a world of good and evil. The written Torah is called the tree of life. Torah at large is called the tree of life. Right? It is a tree of life to those who grasp it or who grab hold of it. But the idea of Kabbalah being the lore of the tree of life, right? The tree of life being the 10 Sfirot, right? That's the name of the name of them is the tree of life. That's the nickname, right, of the 10 Sfirot. And this is the Kabbalah is the lore of the tree of life. So in that sense, yes, it very, very much is. It's not the tree of life, it's the lore of the tree of life, and pertaining to the 10 Sfirot, right? That's what I'm saying. Can you condemn the current Israeli state then? Certified Luddite says. I condemn are carrying out horrible things, crimes and atrocities in the name of Israel, individuals that break international and local law. I condemn their actions and I condemn them for what they are doing, and doing things in the name of Zionism and doing things in the name of God that I do not think are appropriate. I'll condemn that. By and large, as a general thing, no, I'm a supporter of Israel, not 100%, because Israel does things that are wrong. Israel does things that are not kosher, not ethical, not moral. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm just one civilian. I'm just a lowly little dumbass here in Israel with a phone and a cup of coffee. I'm not in the parliament. I'm not in the cabinet. I'm not a high-ranking military officer. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't know what talk there is behind the scenes and why these leaders and generals do what they do. Far be it from me to judge in that sense, but I do judge individuals as human beings, because some things maybe you're not supposed to do, and some things might be illegal, and some things might be horrendous and reprehensible on any level. So those, yes, I will definitely condemn those people and those actions, but I will not condemn the Israeli state. It's a beautiful, wonderful, amazing place that is currently, and still ever since its establishment, fighting a defensive war. So people die in war. Shit happens in war. It is the nature of war. It's just that Israel, as the land of the Jews, is held to double, triple, quadruple standards and is scrutinized beyond measure on any level of analysis. Okay, let's continue. Wish I could think of a good handle, says, is it true you are forgiven for bad stuff if chozer b'tshuva? So chozer b'tshuva means to return, to repent. Yes, you can be forgiven for anything and everything if you make tshuva, right? Of love and of awe. The thing is this, back at the time of the Sanhedrin, there were certain things where part of that tshuva would mean putting you to death. Like if you murder someone, that would be part of your tshuva, right? In the very same way, now we do have things, right? We don't have the Sanhedrin, we don't put people to death by a Hebrew court, right? We don't 4 ways to execute people according to the Hebrew court. We don't have any of them. But lachzor b'tshuva, meaning to return, that's what it means, to return to returning. Because lachzor means to return, tshuva means to return. Yes, it definitely can do all of that. Why are you on my feed, says Brad Hill? Because the algorithm is, thank God, by the grace of the Most High and the wonders of the YouTube algorithm, for the past 5 months, it's been pushing me to hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of new viewers, and many of them just stay for a few seconds and go, "Buch," and bounce. And some of them stick around and they become part of this community. And it's wonderful and it's lovely. It's been growing organically ever since I started it. And I don't market this channel. I don't ask you to like or subscribe. You know, those who are meant to find it will find it. That's how I think of it. And the algorithm, as I've said, has been so gracious, so wonderful, so beneficial, and it's lovely. That's why you're on my feed, but feel free not to stay. I would never watch this ever. Monumentally unimportant to me, says Brad Hill. It's monumentally unimportant to most of planet Earth, right? But for those who do value and who want to engage in dialogue on faith and spirituality, religion, self-development, or whatever it is that's hurled at me by you good people, that's what we are here for. It's just a discussion. That's all this is. That's all it will ever be. I'm not here preaching or teaching. I'm not a rabbi, you know, that whole thing. So why am I on your feed? Because the algorithm is really doing me a solid. I mean, I don't know if it will stay. I mean, you know, it ebbs and flows. It's online. Sometimes I have 20, 30, or 40,000 views, and sometimes I have 5 or 6 or 7,000 views, and there were times when I had 1 or 2 views. It's like, it comes and goes. If you are a Jew, says I'm so high, according to your own logic, a Gentile automatically becomes a Jew if they convert. Yes, 100%. As soon as they put their head up from the mikveh, the ritual pool, they are 100% Jewish, part of the Hebrew tribes. Unequivocally, 100% Jewish. Reincarnation, heresy, says Indigo. Well, yes, some consider it to be heresy. Yes, some do. 271 votes in. No, you don't believe it is up. You don't believe in reincarnation, up to 53%. 29% say yes. 13% are you on crack, and 6% say yes on a case-by-case basis. Answer me, you only answer trolls, says Badawiya. Hi, Badawiya, good to see you again. Sorry, man, you know how it is. I take a look here and I address it here. Do you believe past life regression hypnosis is real and works? Well, I don't know about regression and hypnosis by a hypnotist or a therapist. I'm assuming it does. But I do believe that it can work, if there is such a thing, by a Kabbalist, right? A Kabbalist, a sage who can go with you one-on-one and regress you. So yes, I do believe that's such a thing. I've never been under regression hypnosis, or any kind of hypnosis for that matter. I am curious on how that would go down. But yes, I do believe that it is real. Does it work? I don't know if it works. Maybe, likely, I have no idea. It just might. It just might. A super chat came in. Sin XLL Sin LLX. Hi there. Thank you for donating to charity. All money, 100% of your money goes to charity. When Jesus said John the Baptist is the Elijah to come, since the great day didn't happen, doesn't that confirm they were both false? Well, first of all, I'm not a Christian. I've read the New Testament once in my life. I don't know anything about John the Baptist. As for Elijah and John the Baptist and what Jesus said, I really have no idea. It doesn't make them both false. No. If Jesus said that John the Baptist is the Elijah to come, and then that great day, as it says in the book of Micha, is it, right at the end of it, it didn't happen, all that means is that maybe Jesus said either the wrong thing or was thinking of the wrong time. I don't know. You'll have to ask a Christian that. I'm not a Christian, and I don't follow Jesus, so I have no idea. I will say this. The prophecy of Elijah coming right before the coming of Adonai HaGadol VeHaNorah, that's something, right? I am sending to you Elijah the prophet before the coming of Adonai. That is said to pertain to something like final, something very final, a kind of day of reckoning, a day of judgment, if you will, to some degree. And that did not happen. It doesn't mean they are both false. It means maybe that Jesus was falsely prophesying, or that John the Baptist was indeed a spark of Elijah, but it simply wasn't that time yet. So he can be the Elijah to come, only he is the Elijah, but not yet to come. And it will be somebody else. You see what I'm saying? But you'll have to ask a Christian. I don't know. I've read the New Testament once, and I'm not a Christian, so I have no idea how to tell you what Jesus said or why and what it proves. I really have no idea. The Jews were God's chosen people, never forget. Hey, Am Yisrael Chai, good to see you again. I'm not for the chosen thing. I understand people who are. I just don't see it that way. We are all selected for different things, not anybody better than the other. RK says, I've studied Kabbalah. Which Kabbalah have you studied? There are many different types of Kabbalah. It's Gnosticism. Many rabbis even call it Jewish Gnosticism. That's why the lower 7 Sfirot are linked to planets or planetary gates that one must pass. Well, the 7 Sfirot are pertaining to this world of duality. The 3 higher Sfirot pertain to that which is hidden, which is why it pertains to that which is outside and that which is hidden inside of the mind, protected by the skull. So the seven lower sfirot are externalities. The three higher sfirot are more hidden, right? They are internal. I don't know if it's Gnosticism or not, and I don't know which rabbis called it that or not, nor do I know which Kabbalah you studied or not, RK, so it's very difficult for me to address that. Please, which charity does the Super Chat go to? The Super Chat goes to different charities. 2 months ago, when I first was monetized, I gave it to the food rescuers of Jerusalem that have places set up for the needy who need food, right? And they give away food in East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem. A month ago, I gave it to Yad Sarah that serves Muslims, Jews, Christians, Druze, tourists, and others in Jerusalem and all over Israel. And they give them medical aid and medical equipment, and they aid the homebound and the elderly, the sick and the injured. This month, you good people have raised $556, something thereabout. And once it's in my bank account, again, I will be as transparent as I can about this. I show you take a look at my previous posts. I show you my analytics. I show you the AdSense. I show you my bank account, and I show you the receipt for the charity that I gave to. So you people get to decide, or if not decide, give your input on where you think it should go to. A few people said last month that I should give this month's money half to an organization and half to just people on the street. An organization I could get a receipt from, and you will be able to see it because I'll post it. People on the street, homeless people on the street, people in need on the street, I'm not going to document that or film it or photograph it, so I don't know how I will be able to prove to you that that was actually carried out. But maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll do something else. But either way, whenever I do give to charity, all of the money does go to charity, and I try to give locally here in Jerusalem to places that are not only, let's say, that don't only serve religious Jews or in religious neighborhoods, but that serve the entire city. So that includes Arabs and Christians and Jews and Muslims and whoever else lives here who is in need. That's who the charity goes to. That's who the money goes to. Judea was destroyed by the Romans, Eric says. Yes, it was destroyed by the Romans, and yet it still remains. Here we are. Here I am. How lovely is that? Wait, do I have something in my beard? No, that was just a light. Any charity going to the children in Gaza? Yes, if you can tell me and prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that it won't end up in the hands of terrorists, then I will indeed give, as far as I'm concerned, half of it to the children of Gaza and half of it to the children of Israel this time, okay? If you are actually able to prove it to me, and I do require proof, I'm sorry, Gaza is ruled by Hamas. I do not want that money to end up in the hands of terrorists. If you can actually show me, if you can actually prove it to me, and it's a fucking pain in the ass that I need to sort of demand this, but I do because we are at war. Not with the children of Gaza, but with the terrorist organization. Not with the innocent men and women of Gaza, but with their leadership. And the West Bank too, for that matter, with the Palestinian Authority. If you can show me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it will be families in need, children in need in Gaza, who will receive that money, yes, I have nothing against giving to the children of Gaza. I do not. I have nothing against that. I think they've done nothing wrong. I think they are innocent. They might be indoctrinated by murdering bloodthirsty terrorists, but they themselves are innocent, and they do deserve to be lifted out of poverty. Not that this one donation will do that. Hamas needs to do that, of course, to lift its population out of poverty. If only Hamas would invest the billions of dollars of aid that it got in, infrastructure and civilian operations instead of terrorism, Gaza would look very, very different. You really read the entire New Testament? Yes, I did, and you still don't believe. No, I don't. I loved the gospel. It spoke to me. I really loved the gospel. But the Acts, Letters, Revelation, and all the other books, I didn't get it. Let me guess, you read it when you were very young. No, I read it a year ago? 2 years ago? I don't remember when. A couple of years ago, something like that. Not when I was very young. Abtin says, I'm glad I'm able to see you after 73 days in Iran, bro. One of your fans. Hey, thanks, Abtin. I appreciate that. No, I don't believe. Why should I believe that Jesus is God? That goes completely against the Torah. He can be a prophet, he can be a sage, he can be a master, he can be a rabbi. Maybe I would have followed him myself if I was around at the time. He can be a king, he can be all of that, but he cannot be God. That's it. That's where it goes down. Oh, pardon me. Have you been to Gaza? I've been on the border with Gaza when I was in the military. I have not been in Gaza because if I go into Gaza, I will be lynched and hung from, and tossed off a building. Did you see Hamas ruling over Gaza? I mean, again, I saw it from across the border. That's not saying much. I was never inside of Gaza. Or are you sitting in a nice cozy flat in some comfortable American city? I'm not in an American city, Knowles Bradford. I'm in Jerusalem, okay? I've seen terrorist attacks happen here. I have been privy to all kinds of shit. You're not gonna get... See, you think that I'm sitting here in a comfortable or cozy flat in some comfortable American city? No, I am sitting here in the guts of it all, in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem for many, many, many years. I've been a civilian here. I've served in the army here. I'm not a comfortable, cozy American. I mean, make no mistake. Right now, by the grace of the Most High God, I am sitting here Sunday morning, 11:25 a.m. with a cup of coffee in Jerusalem. Later on, when I'm done with this, I will be able to log on and work from home. And this is something unbelievable that I have. I live a life of such richness, such abundance, such luxury. Okay? But that does not mean at all that I haven't known bad times or hard times. This does not mean anything regarding Gaza or Hamas. Believe me, I've seen both sides of this. Granted, like I said, I wasn't in Gaza, right? I've been on the border as a soldier. I have not been inside of Gaza. But you're not going to twist this and turn this into, oh, you're some American dude sitting somewhere. No, no. I'm a Hebrew man in Jerusalem who's been here a very long time, all of my life pretty much. So, too bad, man, you're wrong. You're simply wrong. All right. Is it Sunday there? No, it is Monday morning, Matthew. Hi, Matthew. That's 3 years ago. Israel still used that excuse. Netanyahu stopped investigating the 7th of October. Netanyahu stopped investigating 7th of October. It hasn't even gone into a full-blown investigation as far as I know, but I don't read the news. So I have no idea. You lost? What? What are you talking about? People are so delusional. I mean, myself included, right? I'm delusional too. But at least I'm not boasting about it, see? At least I don't think I am, but some people. Are you a Rasta Jew, says Peter Pan. Well, Peter Pan, the Rastas base some of their teachings and lore and life on the laws of the Hebrew Nazarite. That is what I am, a Hebrew Nazarite. But I do not worship Rastafari, His Imperial Majesty. I do not worship him as a God incarnate, and he is an Ethiopian Orthodox Christian leader, and I am not Ethiopian Orthodox or a Christian. So no, I'm not a Rasta, but there are many things in the Rastafarian way, in the way of Aital, that I definitely go with, right? That idea of reasoning, the idea of veganism and vegetarianism, the idea of peace and love. So if I am a Rasta, and I'm not, but if I am, I'm not a militant Rasta, I'm not a racist Rasta, I'm just your run-of-the-mill dumbass Rasta. That's me. But yeah, there are a few things, a few views and values that the Rastas and the Hebrews align with. Yes, that much is true. As per Christians, says Noah, Jesus is no more their God, and he is brown. Sad life. They might unleash ice if Jesus comes back. Yeah, I have no idea, who knows what will happen. I know that this European idea of Jesus, blonde hair, blue-eyed, whatever, that's probably not the way he looked. I know that many people who were taken over and missionaries and things, right, and people took over and Christian and made people Christian, they had them believe that Christ is, white skin, blue-eyed, blonde hair, or something like that, right? You very European, I suppose, or that's not necessarily at all. He was probably more likely brown, black-skinned, whatever it was. Rastas were heavily influenced by Ethiopians. Yes, they were. Yes, they were, exactly. Are you well today, says NPC. Yes, I am very well today. Very well. Eric says, sorry, wrong pipe. You were fucking destroyed. Really? Eric, I'm guessing you don't live in Gaza. I think you would see it's the other way around. But yes, Hamas did invade and caused a lot of mayhem and slaughtered over 1,200 people. Just block the spammers, says XX. Nope, I don't block spammers or haters or Nazis or others. I don't, I believe that as much as can be under the YouTube guidelines, it's free speech. Free speech, say whatever you want, troll, hate, spam, whatever. Incidentally, speaking of those lovely folk, I'm not leaving yet, but I want to say thank you to all of you, those watching now, those watching later. I don't take it for granted. You could be doing anything else right now, anything, but you're here with me, live and raw, unfiltered, unscripted, from Jerusalem. And I give you my deepest thanks. I don't take it for granted that I press go live and there's a discussion here and there's a conversation here and we're just, there's the poll going on, you guys putting in your input. It's lovely. It's really, really great. And people giving to charity, which is even more lovely. I am so humbled by your presence, and I hope that it is of some value. I hope it is of some entertainment. If not value, then of some entertainment. And this is so great. The likes and the subs and the views and the love and the encouragement and the haters and the Nazis and the trolls and the spammers. I take it all with open arms and I say, yes, gimme, 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 gimme. This is amazing. The digital connection that you and I share. You may not be able to feel it, maybe you do feel it, but the energy here, right, it enlivens me, it strengthens me, it nourishes me, it helps me to keep going, it gives me so much, right, this engagement that we have, and I do not take it for granted. Your engagement, your participation, your kind words. All right. You're getting very close to your demise, says Skyhog. Yes, aren't we all? What's the point of saying that? What do you think about the Iran wars, bro? What do you think will happen? I think eventually, I don't know how it will happen, the regime will fall, right? The Islamic Republic regime will fall. And I don't know what will happen then. And I don't know who will take the place of that regime, if they will be better or if they will be worse. Or I have no idea. But that regime will fall. Badawiya says, I can't have a discussion without reading my question to have dialogue. Sorry, Badawiya. You know what? Hey, if I don't get to you in the chat, leave a comment. You know how it works. I answer every single comment that I get, but the chat sometimes moves very quickly and I don't get to see everything that goes on there. Netanyahu is a Nazi, says MM. Really? Netanyahu is a national socialist who wants to take over the world, who believes in the superiority of the Aryan race? My God, some people are so foolish. Chat frozen for anyone else? Not for me, Battle Penguin, but it's good to see you. How goes the battle these days? You need some guidance, lost human being, says Eric. Oh, I definitely need guidance. That's what the Torah is here to do. The Torah is a light. The Torah is a guide. The Torah is the path and the way forward. And the commandments is how we put Torah in creation, into the world. It's how we manifest, right, the Torah in the world, through the creation, through the commandments, right, in creation. And the covenants that we cleave to, this is part of our way. So I am very, very lost. Granted, but I am getting the guidance I need, be it through my therapist, or be it through the Torah, or be it from my woman and my kids and my co-workers and those around me. Let's continue. That's your phone's problem, says Eric. Is the third temple coming, says Matthew. So I'm thinking yes, but it's not a necessity. And if it will come, when it does come, it will be a vegan third temple, a house of love and prayer and worship for all humanity, for all earthlings. It will be lovely because it will be built in a time when we have already transcended our differences. We are able to embrace each other's humanity, right? And war and bloodshed will be lifted out of creation, and it will be a house of peace, God willing. And like I say many times, we can transcend the temple. We can transcend the monarchy. We can transcend all of these middlemen and establishments and houses and garments, right? Eden did not have any of this, and we can introduce more and more Edenic elements into our life here and now, right? And so by doing that, we will be able to bring heaven to earth, as it were, and bring Eden into this world. As we are coming towards it, have it come towards us, and we'll meet in the middle. You know what I'm saying? You're a Nazi? Shame on you, says HNRR. Really? I'm a Nazi? Hey, people, tell me, am I a Nazi? Have I said anything bigoted, hateful, racist, or supremacist on this chat ever? Please let me know. Remove all demons, embrace Christ the last Jew, says Loves a Good Pig Roast. Well, your name bespeaks a lovely roast, I'll tell you that. However, no, remove all demons, sure, embrace Christ. I don't know if you mean Jesus, I'm assuming you mean Jesus. If you mean embrace the anointed one, like the king, sure. There are many potential kings right now, even walking among us. Will they be revealed? Will they accept the crown? Will the crown be offered to them? Will they be able to sit on the throne of Israel? Time will tell. Time will tell. I don't know, but there are always potential messiahs walking around, and every day, every generation, there are people who are slated to be the next king. The only question is, do we merit their revelation? Is it time? We need to make it the time. We need to make it the time. Water Bottle says, House of Peace until Israel is destroyed. Yes, many people think that Israel will be destroyed. I don't think so. I think that even if we do transgress to such a degree that we will be once again kicked out of this land, and I'm not saying it might not happen, it definitely might happen. The covenant still exists, even when we turn away from it. Even when we unilaterally break it, the covenant still exists. And there will always be people of Israel to go back to that covenant, to go back to the Torah, go back to the commandments. This is what we are put here to do. This is part of our job as Jews, right? As Hebrews. Nice to listen. Your answers on questions, says Henk Taunman. Thanks. It's not necessarily answers. I address questions. I wouldn't presume to know the answers because I'm just a dude, right? I'm not a learned man or an educated man. Prep Bloom says, we can understand you because Torah already said God is not like man, so we know it's hard to believe in Jesus. It's not a question of hard to believe. You do not believe, if you're Jewish and follow Torah, in Jesus as God. That's literally right there in the Torah. No creation can become the creator. Do not worship as God anything in the heavens, in the sky, on the earth, in the water. Nothing, right? Nothing. God is inconceivable, untouchable, unknowable, unthinkable, immaterial. If I can have a perception of it, if I can conceptualize it, if I can speak of it or feel it or relate to it in any way, shape, or form, from the spiritual to the metaphysical to the physical, it is immediately already by definition not God, but a revelation of God. I will not ever truly know the Creator. I will not ever truly know the essence of the Most High. That is something I, as a creation, do not get to have. What we do is cleave to the attributes, the garments, the emanations and revelations of Adonai. And in doing so, we have that connection in the very same way that I am being projected onto your screen right now as a digital projection is of zeros and ones. And you see me dressed, right, with this shirt and this hat and these glasses and this tie and this cup of coffee. And so you can infer certain things and learn certain things and take or give certain things in this back and forth. But does that mean you truly know my essence? My very soul? Do you know what's going on and how fast my heart rate is or what food I'm digesting right now? No, because even though you can take a lot from this external digital zeros and ones back and forth, and it can teach you certain things about who I am, you will never truly know my essence, my inner monologue, much like you don't know, my blood type, nor do you see what organs are churning right now and what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? Certain things are like that the external bespeaks the internal, in the sense of there are certain things that were hidden until I externalize them, like this word right now, right? It started off over here or over here, but then when I actually verbalized it and sent it out into the world, now you are made aware and is revealing, right? I am revealing that which was hidden. And so we see that this body and these organs and these clothes, they hide one thing and they reveal another, right? You can make certain assumptions from the hat. You can make certain assumptions from the tie. You can make certain assumptions from the hair or the beard. They may be right, they may be wrong, but you can make certain assumptions. And then in the very same way, the Most High is revealed with all of these externalities, and some of them might bespeak, an angle, right? Something about his nature, her nature, its nature, but we don't truly know the nature of God, nor will we ever. Some disagree with me, by all means. I'm not saying this as an absolute. I'm saying that God is the only absolute. And if I can perceive it, it is by definition not God. So when you say that what was it? You said God is not like man. It's like, yes, precisely right, which is why I don't believe Jesus was God. He could have been everything else. Poet and prophet and sage and master and rabbi and rebel and warrior and speaker, a man of the people who lived and died and resurrected and ascended, but that does not make him God. That's it. Gay Muslims and Jews, says Bruce Wayne. What about gay Muslims and Jews? What about them? All right. Unless Hebrew Nazarite is different, but then he's not a Zionist. Not sure what you mean. I don't excuse everything and anything people do in the name of Zionism, but I am indeed a biblical Zionist and a modern-day Zionist. Anxie says, so what would you say to the many people who have ridden their demonic oppression by accepting Christ as their Lord and Savior? I would say, good for you. If you managed to be saved, if you managed to submit to Jesus and bring him into your heart, and you feel that you will rid yourself of demonic possession and oppression by accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior, awesome. I've said this many times. It could very well be that if I was a Christian, I would want to spread the good news as well. Hey, have you heard? He is risen. Have you heard? He was here among us. Have you heard? He can give you, he saves, right? Jesus saves, that whole thing. It's like, if I was a Christian, I would be wanting to spread that as well. I've found such a wellspring of love and life and light. I have found the way. Of course I would want other people to do that. The thing is that as a Jew, as a Hebrew, I feel that is arrogant of me to do. So I don't do that. I believe I found a wonderful way for me. I would not tell anybody else to be a Jew. I would not tell anybody else to keep the Torah's commandments. I would not tell anybody else to become a Nazarite. I would not tell anybody else to live stream from Jerusalem. It's like, yes, this is my path. Awesome. It's not telling anybody else that they should do this too. But I do believe that Christians have found something so unbelievable as far as they're concerned. Many of them are compelled to spread the word and share the good news and say, hey, have you heard? Have you heard? It's happening. It's happening. Accept him. He'll save you. He will rid you. He will wash your hands clean, right? He will wash you clean of all your sins, all of your demonic oppression, all of your possessions, right? The demonic possession. He will rinse you. You will be pure and awesome and ready to ascend as well and be on the right of Adonai with him. It's like, okay, Jews simply don't believe that. That's really all that it is. I've considered it, but can't bring myself to call Jesus God. Well, okay, same thing. I don't consider him my Lord and Savior or God, you know. That's just what it is. Do you believe same God as Muslim and Christian? You'll have to ask Muslims and Christians. I have no idea. How many more kids need to die before Israel is satisfied? Again, one dead chicken. You'll have to ask Hamas. That the blood of those kids' blood is on the hands of Hamas, not Israel. Hamas puts them in the line of fire. Hamas sacrifices them for the cause. Hamas leaves them in squalor and in poverty, in their unending refugee status. Hamas indoctrinates them to hate. Hamas indoctrinates them with their religious, bloodthirsty, warmongering, ideas. That this is what they are supposed to do, and the reason why they live the way they live is because of Israel, and because of the Zionists, and because of Israelis, and because of Jews, and Islam will rule all, and wonderful, go kill some Jews, you'll be rewarded, go kill some Jews, you'll be honored to be on anything and everything, above all else. But talk to Hamas, talk to Fatah, talk to Hezbollah, talk to the actual terrorist organizations that have not stopped attacking Israel since its establishment. Loves a good pig roast says, why are the Jews so weak that they had to run away from Europe instead of fighting to get their land and wealth back? That's a good question. Why were they weak? Likely because they were a persecuted minority. I'm assuming that's like the plain answer, right? What's it called? The Occam's razor? Is that it? It's like, no, I'm thinking of something else. It's like, nope, that's a simple answer. It's likely the answer. Is that Occam's razor? I forget. Maybe I'm mixing up my terms. Shalom, friend, says Raul. Shalom to you. Abtin says, thank you, bro, for answering my questions. It's cool that you're reading all kinds of questions. Yes, I mean, some people might disagree that I'm reading all kinds of questions, but I am. Good morning, I just woke up too, says Colt Smith. Hey, Colt, how you doing? AI Jew, says Valhalla. AI Jew? How do you figure? I have no intelligence at all. Not to say of artificial intelligence. Thanks for proving that Judaism is an ethnic religion, says White King. No, Judaism is Judaism, right? People of Judah. There's a place called Judea, a kingdom of Judah. That's where Jews come from. In that sense, it is, you can call it a race or an ethnic or an ethnicity, but you can convert to Judaism. You can be part of the tribes of Israel. So wrong. It's all of those things, right? It's a religion and it's a place and it's a people, it's an ethnicity, it's a whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. Badawiya says this is not fair. Sorry, Badawiya. Really, truly, I am sorry. You come from Europe, LOL. Really? I come from Europe? I was born and raised in Europe? Really? No, here's how it went down. My ancestors come from Judea. They were kicked into Europe, kicked out of Israel into Europe. Then they migrated to America. Then they made the trip back to Israel. It took, a couple of thousand years, but we arrived. And I was born right here in good old Israel. So you are wrong. Furthermore, even if I lived as a European for 43 years and I converted this morning, I am still 100% a Jew. I know, as I've said before, it burns your ass and it scalds the tip of your penis, But that's the way that it is. I am a Jew, I am a Hebe, I am a Shylock, I am a Big Nose, a Schnozhaver, a happy merchant. That's what I am. Okay. You have a genuinely cool hat, says Bruce. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Your logic is stupid, too, says 84 Fingoids. I love the name, Fingoids. Yes, I agree. My logic is stupid. I'm not telling anybody to follow my logic. I'm not telling anybody to believe what I'm saying. We're having a conversation here. By all means, fact check me, push back against me, challenge me, tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm this, that, or the other. It's all well and good. It's all welcome on this channel. Because I don't presume to have some greater knowledge. I have some experience, and that can translate into some wisdom. But no, I don't presume to be better, know better, act better. I'm a lowly human. That's all I am. A human. I said human. I'm a lowly human. That's all I am. I'm one simple little dumbass in the Middle East with a phone and a cup of coffee. It really does look like the ones from Central Perk, other than the squiggly lines, right? Okay. So I come from Europe? No. There was a point when my family was in Europe. Before that, they were in Judea, here, right outside. I'm looking at it right now. Hello. Let me tell you something, says Ghost Unholy. That reminds me of Monty Python in Meaning of Life with Death. You Americans, you always talk, you Americans. You say, let me tell you something. You look like Rob Zombie and Kid Rock. I look like Kid Rock? Really? I never ever heard that in my life, but okay. Another trick to fool people, says Mohammed. Yes, I am a trickster. I am Loki. I am the god of mischief. Boo. Some people. Pack it up in America, bro. I'm not in America, Valhalla. I'm in Israel. I'm in Jerusalem. Bro, please do the Jew hand rubbing and smile again. Okay, you all ready? You all want to clip this? You ready? All right, the happy merchant. Here we go. There. I think that should be enough, right? You got enough? Cool. You were punished by God, that's why you were kicked out of Babylon. No, we were kicked out of Babylon because it was taken over by Persia, you fool. But no, okay, you're not a fool. You just said something that's wrong. I'm a fool, that much is true. Yes, we were punished by God. We were kicked out into Babylon, and the first temple was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar and Nebuzaradan, his general. That appears in the Bible. Later on, right, there was the exiles of Persia and Greece and Edom, and the exile ended, but some say is still ongoing, the final exile of Edom. As for being punished by God, yes, this is in Torah. You're not saying anything out of the ordinary. The Torah says if you screw up, if you transgress, if you do the wrong thing, then you will pay for it. That is your responsibility as Hebrews, to keep the Hebrew covenant, to follow Torah and commandments. That's what you're here to do. If you don't do it, you will damn well be reminded of what your task is. Enemies will come in, pestilence and diseases and horrors will befall you, and you will ask yourselves as you're being carried away in slave ships, right? And you, why did this happen? Why do good things happen? Why do bad things happen to good people? It's like, yes, because you screwed up. You screwed up. You need to get back to Torah, back to the commandments. Anita says, reincarnation depends on definition like most things. Don't forget to wind the watch. Pronouncement from authority. Nationwide new moon of rest. Enforcement day, May Saturday, Selah. Selah is an interesting word, by the way. It has a couple of different meanings, or supposed meanings, thought to be. Obviously, yes, reincarnation does depend on the definition. The very plain definition is same soul, different bodies throughout time. That's the plain definition of reincarnation. Why don't Jews ever do DNA tests? Because you're actually European. False. Many Jews do DNA tests. Some people say it's illegal in Israel. Bullshit. It's not banned or illegal. It's regulated, but it's not illegal. Achi, you're a clown. Of course I'm a clown. That's part of what I'm here to do. What else am I here to do? I'm just here to talk to people, and part of me is clownish. I don't mind being clownish. I've actually dressed up as a clown when I was a singing telegram for a day for a friend of mine's sister. I showed up in a clown suit, or semi-clown suit, right, with the nose and the wig and everything, and a few different ties on, and I was a singing telegram, a singing clown telegram. So of course I'm a clown. What else am I supposed to do? What, am I supposed to be all serious? Sure, sometimes. But here? Now? I'm both. Why not be both? Why not laugh? We have so many reasons to cry in this world. So much tragedy, so much horror, so much injustice and unfairness, and just big piles of shit. So I'm not supposed to be a clown? I'm not supposed to laugh? There's not supposed to be any humor? What sad life you might be leading. Okay, let's continue. Why do you have to change your last name to not be European? We don't have to change our last name. I still have my European last name, by the way. I keep it very, very, it's a lovely name, and I'm happy to keep it. But why do people change their names? To let go of the diaspora, to let go of exile. All right? Last names have only been a thing for like what, a millennium? Maybe? And the Jews adopted it, I don't know, maybe 600 years ago or so? It's a brand new thing, having surnames and last names. Some of them were named after their profession. Some of them were named after people. Some of them were named after places. And some of them were named after tribal affiliation. But, I mean, it's like you don't have to change your last name. But people who do make a Hebrew last name and forsake their European or, you know, are you aware that 50% of the Jews are Mizrahi Jews from the East? Are you even aware of this? Likely. You seem like a smart fellow. Okay. Tell them, bro, says Spotting Knives. So why do people change it? Because we are not in exile anymore. And so I will not carry the last name of my European ancestry or whatnot. Because that's when, right? That's when. Even if they came from Judea and from the kingdom of Judah, the last name thing kicked in earnest while they were in exile. And so they don't want to continue carrying on their exilic name. They want to take on a Hebrew name. And I know several people who took on a Hebrew name and let their family name go that's been in their family for hundreds of years. So what? It's just a last name. It doesn't mean anything. It has maybe some relation to, like I said, a place, a profession, tribal affiliation, but there's no commandment to have a last name. Not at all. So you're saying that as if it's some sort of a gotcha. Are you aware of how stupid you look right now? I know how stupid I look right now. That's not saying much. But are you aware, Loves a Good Pig Roast, how you look so stupid, so foolish, so nitpicking, asininely... I mean, there's no words. You're just grasping at straws, just throwing shit in the air, hoping to find pay dirt. Why? Why? Do you think this has any significance whatsoever? That people who came back to Israel and who started speaking Hebrew again, let's say, changed their last name from a European last name to a new Hebrew Israeli last name. All that means is that we are back. That's what that means. We are back and we are taking on Hebrew last names, Israeli last names, instead of something that was hundreds of years ago in Europe. Doesn't that make sense? And yet you're using it as some kind of a gotcha. How foolish is that? Please do better. There are so many better arguments to make against Zionism, against Jews, against Israelis, against me. But you, really, I gotta stop and say, what the hell? What? What purpose does this serve? This only paints you as an ignorant person who has not thought it at all through and who's just, throwing things, blah, 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 parroting different questions to which you obviously have not given any thought to, or you would come up with an explanation yourself. It just makes you look foolish and ignorant, and I know, I have faith in you, a good pig roast. You are not an ignorant fool. I am one, I know. Okay. Let's continue. Much of the questions aren't gotcha. Why so defensive? I'm not. That simply seems to be a lack of effort. I'm willing to engage in dialogue and discussion and discourse. Obviously, that's what I'm here for. But to have people put such little effort and use it in all caps as a kind of, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, I do not abide that. I do not abide that at all. As for much of the questions aren't gotcha, yeah, I agree, and you can see, I have hundreds of live streams where I actually engage in discourse with people, and yes, trolls, haters, spammers, Nazis, well-wishers, yes, that too. Jews do it to practice aggressive mimicry. Aggressive mimicry? Man, these people, hey, a white king. Something tells me you're not a king. I think a king, if he's any kind of a righteous king anyway, would know not to, I don't know, I mean, now you know what, I might be wrong, I won't say what I was about to say. All languages are made up. Yeah, that's what Thor said. That's a made up word. All words are made up. The New Testament says I'm so high. He says, God put a stumbling block in front of Jews so that they will not believe in Jesus. It says that Israel's rejection of Christ is not final and all of Israel will be saved. Do you know how many Christians that I've spoken to disagree with you, who say that the modern day state of Israel and the modern day Jewry are this synagogue of Satan who needs to be eradicated, abolished, annihilated? It's like, you Christians, like the Jews and like any people of any faith, you can't agree on anything. You really cannot agree on anything, and fair enough, neither can we. It's all good. It really is all good. Why do so many Jewish people dye their hair, get wigs, and nose surgery? I have no idea. What are you talking about? What many Jewish people dye their hair, get wigs, and nose surgery? Where? Where? I have no idea. Now, I'm not a man of the world, right? I'm just a little Jew here in Jerusalem. I have no idea. Tell me, people, in the chat, with a yes or a no, perhaps, are there many Jews who are dyeing their hair, getting wigs, and nose surgery? Now, all three, or are those mutually exclusive? Because you know what? My woman dyes her hair sometimes, as does my mother. Does that make her a filthy Jew? And so, is that also kind of a gotcha? Adam says, Yowza, good day, good evening to everyone here. Indeed, indeed, good day and good evening. Are you a Jew, says Robin Williams. What do you think, people? Am I a Jew? Doink, 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 doink. You vacated from the actual point by saying that there are other people that disagree, so that somehow disannuls the statement? Wow. What are you talking about? I'm sorry, what? I vacated from the actual point by saying that there are other people that disagree. I'm not sure what you're referring to. So many hats and still no tefillin. Nope, no tefillin, but I wore tefillin for a long time, until my 30s. But like I said, I have this on very, very high authority from the Nazarite Rabbi Yehoshua Friedman and others, and the Nazarite Rabbi Gavriel David, both of them Orthodox rabbis, who say that the Nazarite either wears tefillin all day or does not wear it at all. And I know many of you don't understand this, those of you who know what tefillin is, I felt the call to forsake the tefillin and to embrace the crown of the Nazarite. And for the first years of my Nazarite vow, I put on tefillin every single day. But it started feeling like I was doing something wrong. And I was. For me. It's because they want to look European so they can blend in with the host population. Okay, let's say that Jews, in an effort to integrate more, they want to look more European, and so they dye their hair, they get wigs, and they get nose jobs to blend in with the host population. What is wrong with that? You see, this is classic Jew hatred. We either integrate too much or we don't integrate enough. We are too religious, we're not religious. We are leaders of revolutions or we are leaders of government. We're too rich, we're too poor. People will find any reason, every reason to hate Jews. Case in point, this white king 8877 character, right, says it's because they want to look European. And yet you have another anti-Semitic Jew-hater bastard who says, oh, they go to European cities, but they close up in ghettos, and they don't do enough to integrate it within their society, and they don't give the host, their host population any respect. It's like, what the hell are Jews to do? They will be persecuted and hated no matter what. So you saying, oh, they're getting nose jobs. So what if they're getting nose jobs? If they weren't getting nose jobs, you'd say something about that, because you seem to be an all-around hater. So all I will say is, my king, my liege, your honor, good luck with your hate-filled existence. I hope it does good to you. I hope you are fine with it. I think that with so much hate in your heart, maybe you will find somebody also to love, if you haven't already. And if you did, awesome, great. I hope that the love that is projected onto you by whom loves you, I hope that will rid you of the hate. I really, really do. Hating for the sake of hating is not a good thing. Criticism isn't hate. We all have trends of behavior. Oh, I agree. If it was actual criticism, that would be fine. But it bespeaks hatred because I have a feeling that if it was the other way around and they were not doing enough and they were closing up in ghettos, he would say, this white king, he would say they close up and they don't give their host population any respect and they don't follow their ways and they don't look like them and they don't make any attempt to integrate into the society. Because people who hate Jews will find any reason, every reason, all the time, constantly to hate Jews, right? 4 degrees of separation, and you'll blame a Jew. You'll find some Jew who is in charge of something that you don't like. You will make the connection, because you've already put the arrow on the target, right? You've already stuck the arrow in the middle of the bullseye, and now you're just sort of pretending that you're aiming. They get rhinoplasty surgery all the time. Yes, okay. Once again, that means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. What does it mean, White King? You're bringing this as some sort of a statement that's supposed to mean something and have some sort of significance? Pray tell, what is this significance? What is the significance of you saying that they get rhinoplasty? Hell, the person who's doing the surgery is probably some sort of a Jew, some sort of Jew orthopedic plastic surgeon. Not orthopedic, plastic. Why did I say orthopedic? Plastic surgeon. Rage baiting is one of the reasons I believe God has long abandoned us, says 96 Gamer Alex. Hey gamer, what do you game? I've never been a gamer myself, but I can totally see how people are getting into it all the time. Okay. Let's continue. Hate breeds more hate. Yes, I agree. I have no hatred in my heart towards you people. I have no hatred towards other creeds or nations and other people, and it's like did I say creeds? What word am I thinking of? A creed is like a slogan or a maxim. What am I thinking of? Anyway, something that says people, but I mixed up my words. I have no hatred towards other populations, other people, other faiths or religions or groups. I really, really don't. I take things on a case-by-case basis. Many people don't, and fair enough, because biases exist. I have my own biases too. I just simply try to have them in check. I really, really do. Okay. What's your take on your political leader, Bibi, says Real American P, that he needs to go. He needs to go, and we need new leadership. And I don't think I've voted for him ever. I haven't voted in 20 years, but in the once or twice I voted before that, I don't think I voted for him. Maybe for his party of which he was the leader, but I never voted for him directly, I believe, and I will be voting for someone else next time. I don't know who, the parties, the platforms, the situation. I don't know who's running or what or when or why or how. I don't know when the next election will take place, but whenever it is, I will break my fast and vote after 20 years of not voting. Do you seriously, Mark asks, do you seriously believe everyone just hates you for no reason? No, they will find the reason. They have reasons. Of course they have reasons. They have reasons. It's not for no reason. I just say it's hating for the sake of hating as well. And the fact that they have reasons to back it up, okay, so they have their reasons. Fine. But they will choose any and every reason is what I'm saying. Were you thinking of the word culture? No. No, I wasn't thinking of culture. Hold on a second. I need to look this up a moment. No, I'm not. I don't know what word I was thinking of, but okay, let's continue. Well, people who can use critical thinking does, not everyone. My bad, says Agent Smith. Hey, Smith, how you doing? Are you still multiplying throughout the Matrix? Oh, no, he was killed? I don't remember. I loved the first Matrix. The other three, I don't know. I mean, the effects are good. The fight scenes and the action scenes are great. But as far as the plot and the story are concerned, it lost something after the first one. I loved the first one. I watch it every now and then because it's so good. It's such a good movie. I want to watch it sometime on the big screen. I haven't been able to do that yet. Why haven't you ever voted for Bibi? Can you explain more? I haven't voted for Bibi because I think politics is a dirty game. I think the ones who we elect into office are usually not the ones actually running it. I think it's people who were not voted into office that are running things, people who have wealth and power and influence, people from other nations who are telling us what to do, putting pressure on our politicians. But I think that that's why, and that's why I haven't voted in 20 years. And if I do vote, and when I do vote next time, it will be for someone else because he needs to go. I don't know who will replace him, but he needs to go. Shalom, says Jordan Ria. Hi, Jordan Ria or Ray. Have you ever performed Mitzitza B'Peh on a child? No, because I'm not a performer of circumcision, so I wouldn't do the Mitzitza B'Peh. Also, if I was a moil, I would do it with a surgical single-use straw-like apparatus and not with my actual mouth. I would not want to transfer any diseases or any bacteria or any unwanted things accidentally to the newborn. Everyone knows what you think of the Gentiles, says White King. Really? Everyone knows? People in the chat, people who are regulars, tell him what I think of Gentiles. I won't even say anything. I will let people say it in the chat. What do I think of Gentiles? Damn, says THC guitars, repairs, and restore. Hey, do you repair and restore guitars? That's awesome. Really, really awesome. White King, do you know you're a racist? Says XX. Yes, indeed. He seems to be a racist. I don't know. Sid says, long live Israel. Indeed. Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live, despite some people having it burn their ass and the tips of their penises. Views on Islam and Muslims. Nazif says that I don't know. I will have to wait until there is justice and peace here before I can approach Islam from a better point of view. The only real parts of Islam that I know from experience are the bloodthirsty, warmongering terrorism facets of it, and I have a hunch that is not all of Islam. I have a hunch. So I have no views on Islam and Muslims because I have not studied it, and I don't know. I've never read the Quran or the Hadith, other teachings of Muhammad, and because my mind has been perverted and warped by war and bloodshed and terrorism. And so because of that, I will not be reading the Quran. I will not be engaging with Islam until I can do it from a more objective and pure point of view. Good day, ladies and gents, says Slippery. Good day indeed. What's wrong with being racist? Is it only okay when you are a part of the Chosenites? Well, once again, I don't consider myself to be chosen for anything. Once again, you are displaying your ignorance of this channel. But, okay, that's cool. Maybe it's your first time here. I don't think it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. Either way, a rabbi must do it? No, you're wrong, Agent Smith. You can be a moil without being a rabbi. As for... anybody can circumcise the kids. As for, is it okay when you were part of the chosen? No. Racism always exists within the individual. We all have our preferences. We all have like this in-group, out-group thing. We all others sometimes. The question is it... So what's wrong with being racist? I think it's wrong when it causes harm. You can be racist inside. Where do you manifest it? That's what it comes down to. Where does the rubber meet the road? Do you understand what I'm saying? If you feel you are better than everyone else, in your heart you think you are the most supreme being, but you are still able to be humble and righteous and treat your fellows with, kindness and respect and grace, then good. Then it stays inside, and even though you might feel it, what you are actually doing is a good thing, a welcome thing, a lovely thing. If, on the other hand, you are racist and also behave in a racist sort of way, where it's not simply a preference that you have, where it actually is, no, I'm better, I'm more supreme, I'm of a higher sort, I am more noble, I am entitled to this or that or that or that. That's the kind of racism that is no, right? There's preference and there's racism, right? There's having a preference, just like you have like a sexual preference, just like you have a sexual preference, within your sexual preference. I like my women like this, I like my men like this, I'd rather them look like this and not like that. It's like we all have different ways in which we all have the things that we are attracted to, right? And so if it's some sort of an attraction, that's one thing. If you have a preference, that's one thing. If you have a supremacist idea in your head that is being manifested in life, that is racism. That is racism, because before you know the individual, if you judge them from where they come from or their skin color, the language they speak, that simply makes you a racist, because maybe you will spend time with this person and discover that all the stereotypes are true. Everything that you thought in your mind was actually proven to be true. You are better. You are more supreme. You are more knowledgeable. They seem to be embodying every single stereotype, negative stereotype of this race, religion, ethnicity, skin color, whatever. But to have a prepackaged presupposition about that individual simply because of the color of their skin or the place they come from, the religion they practice, or the language they speak, that is not a good way to be in the world. It's not a good way to be in the world. Even if what you think turns out to be true, you should, I think, approach people with a more objective point of view and let them prove it right by their own doing, not because you think it and act it out from the onset. Okay. RDR says Hebrew Nazarite is a good man and always gives his honest answers and opinions. Seriously, people, listen to what he says. Hey, RDR, I really appreciate the sentiment. People should not listen to what I say. We're just having a conversation here. If they want to listen, by all means do. Again, I don't claim to have any better knowledge or insight into anything. We're just talking here. We're just shooting the breeze. That's what we're doing here. It's almost 2 hours. I'm going to say goodbye soon. Let's continue. Are you still a Moel? No, I've never been a Moel. I've never performed circumcision. The circumcisions that took place in this very house and in previous houses were done by the same Moyle, who I will recommend to anybody who asks. And he did a great job, a very professional job, a very wonderful job. He took care of the kids. He came to see them before. He came to see them after. He really is awesome. And he's one of the more well-known Moyles in Jerusalem. People I know all over the place have also hired him. He's one of the well-known Moyles of Jerusalem. And he's awesome, and he does a great job, and he really cares. And it's lovely. There's no big harangue, he doesn't make a huge thing. He does it well, and it's awesome. I would definitely recommend him. Will you vote against Bibi next time? It's not a question of against Bibi. It's a question of voting for somebody else. Somebody else. I don't know who. The platform, like I said, I don't know. The parties, I don't know. I'm not a fan of politics, but he needs to go. He really does need to go. I would be hard-pressed to find somebody. I would be hard-pressed to vote for Bibi in the next election. It would have to be so awful and so terrible where I read the platforms of the other parties and go, oh my God, I cannot abide, I cannot do this, I will have to vote for him. Or not vote, because I haven't voted in 20 years, and maybe I won't vote again, but I think I will, and I think it will be just to get Bibi out. This is not to say that I don't care about the platform and the parties and the candidates of those who I might be voting for. By all means, that does not mean that. No. But it means that I'm very interested in kicking Bibi out of office. He served his terms. He served his time. He did what he did. He must go. He must go. He must go. What's a good cultural Jewish movie that depicts Jewish lifestyle for non-Jews to watch and understand Jewish people? Fiddler on the Roof. Watch Fiddler on the Roof, or see it on stage, even better. Fiddler on the Roof is pretty good. I mean, that's the diaspora, exile Jewish life. If you're talking about like modern day Israel culture, I have no idea. I have no idea. THC says, have you ever explored the folkloric transmission of the vow of the Nazarite to the Rastafarian religion? Yes, I have. I have a couple of videos on the connection between the Nazarites and the Rastas on my channel. If you want, look it up. Let's continue. Can I get rid of demons? Says, wish I could think of a better handle, of a good handle. Yes, you can. You'll have to go to a proper exorcist. But yes, I think you can get rid of demons. I mean, or you could do it by yourself. But yes, I think you can do it on your own, and I think you can do it externally with the help of others. It's good to be reminded of all the good virtues and people doing good, says Sarania. Yes, it is. There are people doing good. You good people here are doing good. You've given so much to charity in April. Over $550 that will be going, each and every cent of it, each and every bit of it, every shekel will be going to, and that's you good people. Serious question, what happens to all the flesh that has been cut off? If you're talking about circumcision, you bury the foreskin. I buried the foreskins of my kids. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep, says Bill. Yes, this is true. White King says, you know what? I'm not going to read any more White King. I think he is a hater and a racist, and he doesn't bring up, and he is not engaging in good faith. Sorry, White King. Maybe I'll get back to you at some point. I'm going to skip right ahead and scroll down. Shema Yisrael says, wish I could. Indeed, hear, O Israel. Hear, O Israel. Taz the 90s kid. I'm also a 90s kid. Why did a rabbi tell me that black Jews are not really Jews? Because he is ignorant. Because a black man can never be a Jew. There are many black Jews. Converts, Ethiopian Jews. I don't know what rabbi you spoke to, but he seems to be kind of ignorant of the fact that anybody can convert no matter their skin color, that there are black Jews. Now, there are people calling themselves black Hebrew Israelites. I think they believe in Jesus. You can argue on whether or not they believe in the Hebrew God and follow the Torah. You can make that argument. I don't know. The ones I've come across have been very militant and racist towards me, so I don't really know, nor would I presume to think that that's the entirety of their ways. So I don't know. But why did a rabbi tell you that black Jews aren't Jews? Because he's a fool. That's why. Of course, if you have black skin, you can convert. Of course, if you come from Ethiopia and you have the history of being a Jew, you are most likely a Jew. They are called Beta Yisrael, the house of Israel. A lot of them made Aliyah, right, ascended to the land of Israel. They were mistreated by the government, but that's a different story altogether. Yes, of course you can have black skin. You can have pink skin, white skin, yellow skin, purple skin, and be a Jew. What? These people. Oy. Exorcist, we have that. I mean Jews. Yes. The more famous recent exorcist was alive in the 20th century. His name is Rabbi Yehuda Ptaya, and he has a book called Ruchot Mesaprot, Speaking Spirits, where it's a Kabbalistic book that has a lot of things, and there's a chapter there on his exorcisms. If you want, look it up, Rabbi Yehuda Ptaya, and the exorcisms that he performed in the early 20th century. I mean, there are those who are performing exorcisms now, right? Kabbalists who perform exorcisms. The more famous one of the recent era, I think, but I don't know, I think it might be Rabbi Yehuda Ptaya. The book Minchat Yehuda is his, and others, and he is an exorcist. He was a Hebrew Kabbalistic exorcist. Yes, we have that. Look it up. It's fascinating stuff. Even if you don't believe in it, it's fascinating to read it. Really, it is. Okay. Like your opinion on the Epstein gang, Hebrew Nazarite MM says, what is my opinion of the Epstein gang? I don't think I've ever given it, other than the fact that I don't know anything. I haven't not read the Epstein files, and I don't follow the news too closely, so I don't know what went on. From what I've heard, he was a horrendous individual who took advantage of many people and did reprehensible, really morally reprehensible things, sexual crimes, and that a lot of people have a lot of dirt on a lot of other people of influence, of power and wealth, leaders, politicians, statesmen, and so on. And so they are keeping things under wraps. I have no idea what's true and what's not true. I don't know what is a conspiracy theory and what will later be proven to be true, conspiracy theory or not. I don't know which will be, I don't know. As for the gang, I don't know what gang you mean. I don't know what the Epstein gang is. So far be it from me to have an opinion on it. If you mean the people who joined in the underage debauchery, I will say that's not good. It's illegal and unethical and immoral on several different levels. And just because you have the money, just because you have the power, just because you have the opportunity and the ability and the potential to be an asshole and to take advantage of girls and guys, doesn't mean you should. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Chris Rock, right? Chris Rock famously says, you could drive a car with your feet if you want to. That don't make it a good idea. It's true. Okay, on that lovely note from Chris Rock, I'm going to say goodbye. I thank you, good people, those watching now, those watching later. If I didn't get to you in the chat, my apologies. Leave a comment. I address every single comment that is addressed to me, so if I didn't get to you in the chat, it's not on purpose. It's not me filtering, banning, censoring, ignoring intentionally, not at all. I just, over 100 people here right now, and the chat moves somewhat rapidly sometimes, and I can't get to every single chat. But I do get to every single comment that I'm notified of, so please leave a comment or hit me up in the DMs. Hebrew Nazarite across the board. Look for my tree, X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I don't post much, but I'm there for the DMs, and when I have the time and the option, I love engaging with people one-on-one. And I thank you. I don't take it for granted that you're here, those watching now or later. You take time out of your day, out of your night to engage with me. Those giving to charity. Oh, wait, did I miss something in the super chat? I saw something came in. What came in? Thoughts on the Talmud. Okay. Thoughts on the Talmud are that it's a book of lore and legend and rabbinic discussion on the nature of the Mishnah that preceded it. It's where rabbinic law is derived from in part, but it's the oral traditions that were written down. It was never meant to be written down. That was the product of exile, death, and destruction. So it kind of, on the one hand, kept Judaism in survival mode halachically, which was necessary and a good idea for the time, but now we need halakha to progress. We need to have the laying of the hands on proper rabbis, proper sages. We cannot continue living in the 4 cubits of halacha. We are not here just to survive. We are here to thrive, and that includes halachically speaking. But certain things need to happen rabbinically in order for the Talmud to advance. Now, many halachic rulers do use the Talmud to still bring modern-day halacha to the 21st century, but they are still stuck with certain rules and regulations and pillars that were put and placed by those before us that they cannot lift up off the ground, and they do not have the authority, and that's problematic. So my thoughts on the Talmud are that even though they bring all the opinions of the minority and the majority, not everything became rabbinic law. There are many sages who say different things and different teachings, and like I said, folklore and myth and legend and lore. Those did not actually become rabbinic law. It's there, right? Discussions and debates going on hundreds of years, spanning hundreds of years. It's an interpretation of the Mishnah that preceded it, but it, in and of itself, is a book of rabbinic law, or of ways in which to derive rabbinic law. A book of discussion, of argument, of debate, of conversation, and made by people for people, because we are the people who keep the rabbinic law. We are the people who keep halacha. Those are my thoughts on the Talmud. Like the Torah itself, like the written Torah, there's good in it and there's bad in it. And it depends on the lens through which you view the book. It depends on how you choose to view these texts. If you want to find racism, bigotry, misandry, misogyny, and supremacy, you'll find it there. If you want to find like the militant, Jew, like you'll find it there. If you want to find grace, kindness, benevolence, and love, you will find it there too. If you want to find logical arguments, you'll find them there. If you want to find illogical, irrational teachings that are batshit crazy, you'll find it there too. The Talmud incorporates all of it. And on that note, thank you. I will see you on the next live stream where the wonders never cease. Until then, be blessed, be a blessing, be the light in other people's lives, be happy, be healthy, be well. I will see you next time. I don't know when that will be, but I will see you. Until then, peace, love, justice. A quick prayer for unity and justice and peace, as long as I brought it up. May war and bloodshed and terrorism and death itself be taken away from creation. May we be able to transcend our differences, find real justice here in this region and all over the world. May we be able to unite in our shared humanity and transcend our differences, transcend our limitations, transcend our shortcomings and our petty squabbles and our less petty squabbles. And may we be able to truly find each other as individuals, those around us, as nations, as cultures, as people, as earthlings. Goodbye from Jerusalem. This has been so much fun. I thank you. To life, l'chaim.